are the other states where minorities are in large numbers responding? Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, how are these where your government is not in power and minority has a how are you reassuring these states, firstly the people of the states, that the rights of the largest minority in this country are safe, that they are not going to be victimized? Plus, how are the leaders of these states responding to this?
So first of all, when we say Muslim community, large section of Muslim community are wholeheartedly welcoming this act. The requirement for change in the Waqf Act, the necessary amendment which we have made, are in fact suggested by the committees which were formed during the Congress time. If you see 1976, Waqf, that inquiry report, and then the Sachar committee report, and then K. Rahman Khan report, that is a select committee again in the parliament. They all have talked about making the management of the Waqf property in much more efficient, transparent and accountable manner. That is exactly what we have done it. And then the Waqf properties in India are the largest Waqf properties in the world. It is not only in the country. Some people keep saying that
after
the
railways
and the defense. How can you compare the defense and railway properties with the Waqf properties? Waqf properties are owned, managed by private individuals. Railways is like the track, railway tracks, thousands of kilometers. We travel on that. The railways don't use it. They use it for us. And defense is for the people of the country to safeguard India's interests, safeguard its territory. So first of all, the Waqf properties in India is the largest in the world. And despite having the largest Waqf properties in the world, how come these properties are not being utilized for the welfare of the Muslim communities? See, the purpose is three, for charitable, pious and religious purpose. So, if so much of Waqf properties are being mismanaged by few of the powerful people who are, in a very surreptitiously mishandling the entire Waqf properties, and few families are enjoying the fruits of these properties, what about the 90%, the larger section of the Muslim community, the weaker sections, the children, the women? So what we have done is, we have made sure that the misuse will be prevented in future. And Smitaji, I must tell you, we knew it. We will have this kind of resistance because those powerful people who are misusing so much of Waqf properties will definitely not give up easily.
Yeah, okay.
They will resist. And that is what we are seeing it. But what we are saying is, let people read the provisions of the Act and tell us if there is any provision which harms the Muslim community. Tell us. So Muslims are also Indians. Shouldn't we think about Muslim community? How can we leave aside one community and let all the irregularities keep on happening unchecked? We can't see that. We are the government of India. We have the responsibility to ensure that every citizen is taken care of, every community is looked after. So the people who are spreading this false news, all this unverified claims, and just merely broadcasting around that the Waqf properties means the masjids, the dargahs, the qabristan, these are going to be snatched away by the government. This country rules through a law. We are governed by the constitution. How can anybody snatch somebody's property like that?
When the farm bills came and when the NRC regulation that was going to come, there was a lot of street protests which happened, and farm bills were revoked, and the NRC has gone into cold storage. That has not happened. What what are the chances that the way the street protests are happening, CAA you didn't, you stuck by it, it happened, and the protests died down. Maybe because COVID happened or whatever, God knows what the reason was, but or the funding stopped for the CAA, for the protests. Nobody knows what happened, but the CAA protests fizzled out. But the farm bills went into revoke mode, and NRC went into cold storage. What happens if the current protests against the Waqf bill also becomes widespread? Is there a chance that they would be revoked too?
No, we can't be comparing the farm laws with the Waqf Amendment Act. These are two different things. Here in the Waqf Amendment Act, it is a question of not only ensuring justice to the needy people, but preventing the wrong things, wrongdoings, the illegal acts by some of the people. In fact, I must tell you, for last nearly 8-9 months, I have been receiving numerous delegations from the Muslim community urging urgently to pass this Waqf Amendment Bill. And then finally we passed it. So it's not that we just came out of blue. And the consultation process has been
widespread. Then who are the people who are protesting?
Protesting is only the opposition parties, those political parties which treat the Muslim community as vote banks. They create, fear-mongering. They keep scaring the Muslim community. And from the long time I have been witnessing these people, they don't want Muslim community to develop. They want to keep them isolated, create fear in their mind, and then make them anti-BJP. But many of the Muslim communities are now coming forward. I have met so many Muslim communities, even when I went to Kashmir also, so many, common people, they came, the Muslim women, the influential people also came to me and they said, very well done. The Waqf Amendment Bill passed.
Similar to what happened with Article 370 when people in Kashmir came and said...
Same thing I had just compared in one of my speech also, that during the abrogation of the Article 370, they said there will be bloodshed in Jammu and Kashmir and some parts of the country. And then when CAA was being considered, they again said that this will lead to snatching away the citizenship status and other rights of the Muslims. Now, nothing such has happened. In fact, the Citizenship Amendment Act has been now a kind of a ground where we are more easily identifiable with those people who are genuinely coming to India and recognize their citizenship, and those illegal are being prevented. And similar in J&K, we are seeing the ushering of peace and development. I was thoroughly enjoying my Kashmir visit, 3 days visit this time. And then it was fantastic, record numbers of tourists, investment and everything's coming.
This whole thing about what is going to happen to the Waqf properties, of course, you mentioned that. But Mr. Owaisi has said that, Barrister Owaisi has said that now Sambhal, Gyanvapi, Mathura, they'll be removed from Waqf control, and there'll be an attempt to seize these because it's sensitive, and other religious properties. And then there are people from, the BJP also, some hotheads saying, "Bas ab to ho jayega."
See, first of all, I fail to understand how could they connect this Waqf Amendment Act with other religious issues. This Waqf Amendment Act is a continuation, or in a way, it's amending a previous provisions which were in existence. Since 1913, from the British time, the law existed, and post-independence, first law was enacted in 1954. So the Waqf law has been there. The legislative process has been happening pre-independence. And then last amendment was 2013. And that triggered the present step which we have taken. And I don't need to elaborate on those things, but still I would highlight two important points. One is this Waqf by user, without the law of limitation being applied, any property can be claimed as Waqf property on the basis of a claim made by an individual that some 100 years back or few years back, we used to do certain things, namaz or whatever. You can do namaz anywhere, but that doesn't mean that that particular area becomes a Waqf property. So we have not only checked it, but ensured that misuse or unverified claims must be stopped. So what we have done is that you can create Waqf through a deed, not by just oral claim, because once Waqf property means forever Waqfed. That is why you have to be extremely careful. So it has to be with a documentation process. You can create Waqf. And then, this...
and retrospective, wo wala part?
See, there are some confusion with regards to the retrospective effect. First of all, the law is prospective. Whatever is a declared Waqf property cannot be disturbed. Whether it was Waqf by user or whatever, if that particular property is declared, suppose, I'll just give you an example. If there was a Waqf by user and the particular property has been declared a Waqf property and a document has been created, thereby the state government or the DM has recognized that property and it is registered, then it is done. The case is settled. You are not going to reopen or change the status of that. Only those cases which are pending, under dispute, so they are either pending in the tribunal or under writ. They have made an appeal in the court. These are to be decided by the courts. We can't take away the rights of the courts. So it is prospective. It is not retrospective. However, if there are some kind of issues which are not settled, then state government will decide. So the power is not with the central government.
Okay.
Central government is just forming a central Waqf council which is headed by the minister, in this case me. So all this, whether it is to be claimed, reclaimed, counter-claimed by the state government, will be decided by the state government. The DM is under the state government.
Why by you? Why not a Muslim? I mean, if this is about a Waqf council, why a non-Muslim?
Now the problem is we have 6 minority communities in India by definition. By notification, there are 6 communities. By virtue of being the Minister for Minority Affairs, I presented the bill. So by virtue of being the minister, I become the chairman of the Central Waqf Council. Minority ministry is not for Muslim. That is what I have been telling from the beginning, that the Congress party had made the Minority Affairs Ministry as a Muslim Affairs Ministry. How unfortunate that is. And then they are talking only about Muslims, leaving aside the other smaller minority communities.
But you have left aside the Muslim community completely, no?
No.
You don't have even one MP.
Though I have been telling in the Muslim areas that please vote for BJP, send Muslim MPs, come to BJP and be part of the government. If Modi ji has got the massive support from the people of the country,
so it's the Muslim community's
it is not
fault.
Anybody's fault.
So it is the Muslim community's fault that they haven't elected a BJP Muslim.
I would not say fault, but
that's what you're saying, na? Ki wo log aaye nahi.
In a way, that is true. But suppose if you don't get elected from Muslim community, what can you do? I can't make somebody elected with my own wishes. I have to have a person who is elected by the people. So that is why some of the objections, I mean, this very bizarre, kind of an argument. They said that the minister who presented the bill is not a Muslim. And on the counter side, I said that I feel fortunate to do something good for the Muslim community. So because of being the Minority Affairs Minister, I have the responsibility to look after the welfare measures of 6 these minority communities. So this argument doesn't stand,
Okay.
गर्मियों की छुट्टी होने वाली थी, मेरे पापा आने वाले थे, तो हम लोग सभी खुश थे। तो मैं बेड पे चढ़ के डांस कर रहा था, लेकिन वो पहले ही आ गए। फ्रीज। तो मैं उस समय तो कंटिन्यू नहीं कर सकता था, तो फ्रीज फ्रेम टाइप का हो गया।
कसम पैदा कर